and how I got into this mix.
Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we are going to talk about facial recognition technology and whether or not there's anything we can do about it. Before we get into that, please remember to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com to check out all of our latest content and to support us. You can download our books for free, see videos, articles, buy shirts. You can also contribute your own content if you've got ideas you want to share. And of course, if you want to support us on patreon.com/DerrickBroze, that is a huge help. Thank you for that. So we're going to cover quite a few articles today, but the general theme of this video can be summed up with this recent article from Activist Post from Aaron Cassell called "The Rise of Facial Recognition Technology is Now Inevitable." And that's, I want to ponder that statement for a moment and I guess decide whether or not we think it is inevitable. Of course, facial recognition technology is a part of a larger set of technologies that are known as biometrics. And biometrics can involve retina scanning of your eyes, it can involve scanning of your face, what's known as a face print, and it can involve your thumbprint. It can involve gait detection, which is your gait is the way you walk, and they can, they have now being able to detect how you walk and whether or not, who's who based on who they walk and all these different characteristics, and analyze your emotional state based on what they see via this biometric technology and things of that sort. And it's been growing and growing and growing over the last couple of decades, but it's increasing at a very rapid rate, as is all technology. And of course, it's being used as a ways for government to promote keeping people safe, that this is going to keep the citizens safe. If we adopt facial recognition technology everywhere, you won't need a passport anymore. You won't need your plane tickets, because as soon as you walk out of your car at the airport and step into the airport, they will already have seen your face on a facial recognition camera, scanned you, compared that to a database to see if you have a ticket and if you should be on there or if you have a warrant or whatever. And of course, this is all going to lead to a surveillance state, police state, where you can't walk out anywhere without being under Big Brother's eye and ear, and any potential, let's say you got some traffic warrants, they will come scoop you up. Let's say that you've been speaking out against the government and your credit score, your Sesame credit score reputation system is very low. Well, they might just come scoop you off the streets, and they'll have no problem locating you via GPS in your smartphone and other devices. So, yeah. Aaron Cassell writes this: for the past few months, this writer has focused on facial recognition technology, from Amazon helping law enforcement with its facial recognition software, which I have also written about as well. That is a big part of this system that we're seeing established here, the facial recognition via Amazon. Of course, Amazon partnered with and working with the CIA and others. The DHS wanting to use facial recognition for border control, and even the Olympics using this for security. And we've seen this in retail for anti-theft purposes. Again, this is being pushed. I'm sure they'll find a way to push it in video games. And Aaron wrote here, "We are entering the minority report. There is no going back after this technology is public and citizens are indoctrinated for their safety." Absolutely. Once we move, as we're shifting to the 5G system and we're shifting to facial recognition technology, we can't turn this off once it starts. Then the people behind it, the corporations that are building it, and the governments who are benefiting from it and will use it for control, they're not just going to relinquish it once it comes to power. And so Aaron goes through here listing a number of different examples of the ongoing growth of facial recognition technology, and says that he does believe it's inevitable. We're going to look at a few different areas. There's been a historic judgment as India's nationwide biometric ID database was ruled constitutional just a couple of weeks ago. India first introduced its concept for a nationwide biometric ID database more than 7 years ago, which they said was necessary for their social welfare programs to assist the millions of India's population who are considered unbanked, and to streamline welfare distribution and to, quote, reduce corruption. Of course, this has not panned out, and a lot of the people are still not able to get the services and things they were promised, but they have now given the government their fingers, their eye scans, their faces, and obviously this can be used to track, this can be used for all kinds of different things, as we mentioned, control. Then you have a report here from The Intercept just a couple of weeks ago. The government wants airlines to delay your flight so they can scan your face, discussing the Biometric Entry-Exit Program by the Department of Homeland Security. And this is one of the things that I've been writing about since the beginning of the Trump administration, that the Trump administration has helped push things like biometrics and facial recognition technology into the forefront of fighting against immigration as well as terrorism. And so now it's getting to the point where airlines are starting to install it. We've got one here saying the TSA facial recognition experiment received 85% accuracy rate. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is expected to complete a 30-day test next month, testing the use of facial recognition technology at LA International Airport. The DHS desires to use the technology to better track and record approximately 1 million foreign travelers who enter and exit the United States every year, with roughly 300,000 traveling by plane. So during test programs at Boston, Houston, New York, and Atlanta, travelers were photographed as they prepared to board planes. Great. This is where I fly out of, so I've probably already been scooped up with my face. And, you know, some people will say, well, look, dude, if you've got an ID or if you've got a passport, they already have your face. And that's true. But does that mean we should just blindly go into this? I mean, perhaps it is true that it's too late, especially if you're born in the 2000s. You know, they've probably been taking pictures of babies' faces since the moment they're born and following that and cataloging that, not to mention selfies put online via Facebook and Instagram. But does that mean we should acquiesce? Or is it too late? Did we already, you know, and if it is too late, what does that mean? How do we respond? But so the cameras then use facial recognition technology to match up passengers' faces with data collected by the federal government on each foreign national who entered the country. Now, you better believe if they're doing this, they're not just doing this for the people who are flying internationally. I guarantee you that this is being used more than this. And this actually goes on to talk about Dulles Airport, JFK. It's been going on in Houston for a while. The other airports that are involved in growing the facial recognition program. It's continuing to happen, right? Now, this is also sort of a milestone here as we move into this new era. Federal government recently forced a child porn suspect to unlock his smartphone using his face as part of the iPhone X, I believe it is, where people are using their face print to, you know, lock their phone and things like that. So the cops were able to just come in and, I guess, hold his phone to his face and force this man to unlock his phone. And it says so here in this article that's coming from Forbes magazine. FBI Special Agent David Knight found some evidence of criminal activity when he manually searched the device. In one respect, the forced Face ID unlock of the iPhone X was a failure. So they're talking about taking data off the phone after forcing this man who was accused of child porn. And of course, that's nothing that any of us want to support or endorse, but that's how they get it done first, right? Go after the worst possible criminal you can think. Oh, of course, we'll all condone that because it's a child, you know, it's a rapist or it's a pedophile, but then it becomes normalized or it becomes precedent set, and then it starts happening to everybody. Now, this is also coming here from the American Civil Liberties Union. Here's what happens when we allow facial recognition technology in our schools. And this is really important as well, to look at all the different ways that these programs are already starting to be brought into schools. Real Networks announced that it is offering facial recognition technology to any K-12 through 12 school in the country for free, claiming that it's going to make schools safer. We got different independent school districts applying for budgets for facial recognition. And here are some of the things that the ACLU says is wrong with bringing these technologies into schools. A loss of privacy, false matches, discrimination, and ineffectiveness. Fewer graduates. The effects of the school-to-prison pipeline are well documented. As we have increasingly relied on law enforcement to maintain school discipline, more of our children are exposed to criminal justice system. Kids who are arrested in school are 4 times likely to drop out as their peers. Communities should be looking for ways to keep the criminal justice system out of the classrooms, not bring it in. Some interesting information that you're definitely going to want to check out right there. And in this report here, military and U.S. law enforcement establishing joint communication network for biometric databases. And this is, again, biometrics includes facial recognition. The FBI has a biometric database that they've been keeping secret, and we've written about that for the last couple of years and talked about that. According to a release from Biometric Update, the FBI, the Department of Defense, and Homeland Security use different computer languages that have difficulty communicating with each other as seamlessly as the U.S. government desires. So in order to fix that problem, they are now going to start setting a new standard in 2019 where they allow their biometric databases to communicate seamlessly. and essentially just centralizing more of the organizations who are involved with collecting facial recognition and biometric data. And as I said, there's a lawsuit currently going on with the FBI. People are trying to force the FBI to reveal more information about how the facial recognition database works and what the heck's going on. Now, another aspect of this that I want to mention before we wrap up is that, years ago, everybody was calling for body cameras as a solution to police accountability. You see all this wave of police violence and people finally starting to pay attention to it. And then, of course, people are like, body cameras, we need body cameras on cops. That'll hold them accountable. And it really hasn't done that. But instead, it's, cops turn them off or they don't work. There's all sorts of crazy things that happen. But now we might really start to see the full picture of what the goal was with getting the public to accept body cameras. Because now we have increasing evidence that several companies and law enforcement agencies are engaged in trying to combine facial recognition technology with body cameras so that you could literally have all these cops walking around, recording, and at the same time just scanning every single face that's around them. So if you've got a warrant or if you're just out in public, any cop could see you, could take you down, and could arrest you, could come bother you. I mean, this is Big Brother. This is dangerous. This is the direction the United States is going in. This is not everywhere that's going this way, but the United States and some of the Western nations like Australia and the UK and others are headed in this direction as well, and it's dangerous, and I don't know how to stop it. We can't. It doesn't seem like it is possible to stop it. The facial recognition technology, biometrics, it is seeming to be inevitable, and combining this with body cameras is a dangerous idea. So this report says, if facial recognition comes to body cameras, how will government respond? And it goes into some ideas on that that you should definitely look into. Police support strong policies around facial recognition, talking about cops. Cities to embrace facial recognition policies for law enforcement. And then this one here from The Atlantic is a really good article that's a couple weeks old. The always-on police camera. Body cameras that automatically activate in response to the sound of gunfire could forever change people's expectation about public spaces. So this is important to think about, because one of the aspects of the surveillance state are audio recording devices, sound detection devices. So they've actually put these in some light poles in certain cities where, again, if they hear a gunshot go off, these microphones automatically are supposed to record. However, it's been found that these things are recording 24/7, and they can hear people's conversations on the street. They can hear all kinds of different things, right? And maybe that could be useful later in the future for, some sort of, there's a murder, right? And you can go back and you can play the tape back and overhear if somebody was admitting to something while on a certain street corner. But there's the obvious downsides about this, the 24-hour surveillance state existing and using that device, these body cameras, to work as sound recording devices whenever they hear gunshots or certain trigger sounds, and then bringing that together with facial recognition technology. So right here it says, in mid-September, Digital Alley, a cloud storage and video imaging company, announced a series of patents for cameras that would automatically be triggered by various stimuli, not just an officer pressing record. Theoretically, these would end the problem of both recreation and cameras inexplicably failing to record use of force scenarios. So it goes on from there, and you have here a quote from Woodrow Hartsburg, a professor of law and computer science at Northeastern University. Facial recognition is probably the most menacing, dangerous surveillance technology ever invented. We should all be extremely skeptical of having it deployed in any wearable technology, particularly in contexts where the surveyed are so vulnerable, such as in many contexts involving law enforcement. So this is going to be crazy, and right now they're saying it's technically not feasible right now. It's still technically infeasible because of the enormous processing demands. But again, what happens when we move towards 5G? An article I wrote 2016, nearly 3 years ago, Don't Fall for the Police Body Camera Deception, where I was exactly calling for this thing and saying how this is what's going to lead to facial recognition cameras being turned on, and just basically predicting exactly what we're seeing unfold here as facial recognition and body cameras become one. So please do, guys, go through these links, read them for yourself. Share them with people. Share this video. This is important information, and perhaps Aaron Cassell's right, and the rise of facial recognition technology is inevitable. Or perhaps there's something we can do about it. You guys let me know what you think about it. Remember to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, and I will talk to you guys soon. You are powerful. You are beautiful. You are free. Peace.